All right, guys. It's early in the morning here in the Ozarks. Uh, Sorry I didn't get a live stream out yesterday. I had somebody supposed to come by, and I waited on them, and waited on them, and passed my live stream time, and I waited and waited. And they're supposed to come pick up a generator and a sprayer that they left with me, and for safekeeping for storage. And fucking, I waited and waited, and nobody showed up. So anyway. Last night on I take this daily dose of straight talk anymore when I go to bed early in the mornings. So he's got Bob Kudla on here with Trade Genius. And if you guys don't know, uh, Bob Kudla is probably the smartest um, trader, for the stock market and crypto. I don't know. I wouldn't say he's the smartest crypto guy about knowledge in crypto, but he does his business. The Trade Genius runs both sides of the field. Regular stock market and crypto, and they trade 24 hours a day. On all time frames, and so uh, I want you guys to pay close attention to what he says in confirming that we have a major economic crisis uh, coming, is looming. If some things don't play out right, and they really don't look like they're going to, because of the way our administration runs and the way China has handled um, its GDP for the past 20, 30 years. And the way Australia you could kind of blame some stuff on Australia because they cut off China's coal supply because they got tissy with them. And then, as you all know, if you see my video, most of you are here from my CERN videos from uh, uh, Steve Benoon's Israeli News Live, you know, and a lot of you guys didn't know about me before then. But some of you here have been paying attention for months, and my close group of friends, and we all know, they all know what's going down. Uh, but you all new people probably don't. Some of you, I know some of you are really awake, but there's a few of you guys that need a quick boot in the ass to get you motivated into really really coming around to what's going on, and especially those people on freaking what is that? Oh, I was going to make a video about my favorite guy to troll. What my favorite YouTuber to troll. He's on other platforms too, but shit, I can't remember his name right now. I'm having a brain fart. My mind's on the economy right now, not on trolling people. But I'll probably put out that video shortly after this one. I was going to do it last night and I didn't. But anyway, here we go. Listen to Bob and just pay close attention, because if you play the stock market, his Trade Genius is essential to be in. It's worth the money. If I had the money, if I was trading, this is the guy I'd be following. And in my Deep State Watchdogs, I post a lot of economy news and crypto and cyber stuff sometimes. I mean, most of the people I'm following on Twitter with my Deep State Watchdogs news site is cyber and crypto people, and retweeting bots that retweet cyber and crypto information and coding and stuff like that. So I really try and stay on top of what's going on in the underground. And if to tell you the truth, is really, man, these people are smart, but they've got one thing in mind, and that's numbers. Crunching numbers, and that's all they do. We're we're not growing food. We're fucking we're fucking coding video games and shit. And You'll see that here in the next few months. You see what China did is restricted their under 18 people, uh, kids under 18, 3 hours of video games a week. Yeah, and then they illegalized all cryptocurrencies. So the kids that were playing video games with the crypto uh, are shit out of luck, boy. They're fixing to have a revolution over there in China pretty soon, before we get a chance to go to war with them, I believe, because Evergreen is going to crash. But anyway, don't listen to me. Listen to Bob here. He's the professional, and here we go.
Midnight DEF CON 2 pre-show tonight featuring the one and only Bob Kudla. TradeGeniusAcademy.com is his organization. He is, if you're new to the program, he's founder and president of Trade Genius Academy. He was an executive for 2 Fortune 500 companies in the financial services industry for 25 years, focusing on business development and merger and acquisition, stuff like that. He's been trading since 1991. In 2008, he started his own trading company with a group of friends and became so popular they went ahead and took it public. So now, as of 2015, Trade Genius Academy is a going concern, and it really is. I say this every time, but it's true. He's able to see around the corners and positions trades into the right markets at the right time. And he has tracked an overall 65% win record in the market. That's pretty darn good. We're going to talk about various things. China on the brink, cryptocurrencies, the insanity going on in our own government, $3.5 trillion spending packages, and pretty much whatever Bob wants to talk about. So without further ado, here he is once again, Bob Kudla. Hey, Bob, you're looking fit and strong, lad. It's good to have you back on the program.
Oh, well, thanks for having me. You need to be fit in these day and age.
Right. Well, I'm wondering, I don't understand a lot of this. I'm pretty sure a lot of other people don't understand it either. But is there some sort of a threat to cryptocurrencies? I mean, I want to talk about whatever you want to talk about, but I'm seeing those things that I mentioned. China, Evergrande having problems. They're renting cheap apartments for their executives and so forth, and then disruption in the crypto markets, cryptocurrency in general, and then all this supply chain threat that seems to be looming everywhere. I did a story earlier about a guy who says, "Oh no, it's much worse than what you're hearing. I'm only able to get sometimes 30% of what I've been able to historically get over the past 50 years off and on." So take us anywhere you want to go, because it looks like there are some opportunities for some if they're in the know like you are, but for others they're going to be on the short end of the stick because they don't know what the heck is going on. I may be one of them. So
let's talk China, because we can end up with cryptocurrencies in that same thread. So there's two school of thoughts in China. Well, first of all, I'll give you my view. China is a massive Ponzi scheme, okay, that's about ready to implode. But the question we don't know is China going down through incompetence, or are they going to try to take the West down with them? And if you notice, they've been playing this game. They started the COVID crisis, right? They unnecessarily hyped it. You only do that if you want to do it on purpose, and that's 2 years we've been talking about that. But lately, it's been really interesting is that they've been trying to slow down exports and key components to the West. And, they've shut their ports down like erratically, saying it's because of COVID restrictions. And then lately, this past week, they're saying they're basically running into energy shortages. And so they don't have enough coal. And so they, remember, they picked a fight with Australia. And Australia provided them all their coal. And now they don't have enough coal. And so what they did was they started telling their factories to cut back on output and deliveries so that they don't basically brown out and black out their cities and have millions and millions and millions of very angry people freezing to death without food in their streets. That's usually when you get a regime change in communism, is the certain percentage of population dies. And so that affected Tesla, that's affecting the automaker chip, that's affecting some other stuff coming to the West. It's almost like they're purposely trying to damage our economic engine because, we're reliant on a lot of those imports from China. And so that's one thing. And then the second thing, this whole Evergrande thing, there's something your listeners probably don't know. Property development in China is 30% of their GDP. That's 30%. That has effectively ended. China's been telling people they've been on a 6 to 7% GDP growth rate for the last 30 years. But all you have to simply do is look at the growth rate of their debt to GDP to see basically it's been all a fraud. And what Evergrande has done is that they will go ahead and they'll put a brochure out there saying we're building this high rise. Let's call it 1,000 homes inside that high rise, and they're going to say, well, we're going to sell them all for $300,000. You got to put $30,000 down. Well, you got to put it down before they start building. Okay, and then they never get it built, or they don't get it sold. And so now multiply this by $330 billion, and that's the problem we have right now with Evergrande. What we don't know with Evergrande is how much that's internal and how much that's going to leak out around the world, primarily through Europe and the Middle East, and then back to the U.S., at a later date. So China is going to, from a GDP standpoint, implode. Now, forget Evergrande for a second and remember what it means is that, look, they import a lot of copper, concrete, steel, glass, all that stuff, all those precursors to build these buildings. What is essentially stopped right now? So Japan is feeling it. Korea is feeling it. Okay, countries that have raw materials in Africa are feeling it. And so they're creating this environment where it's basically going to be just like the 1930s again. You're going to have this, this what I call demand depression, because they ran out of demand, and so supplies will stack up, and then you get basically a rolling down of economic activity, high debt that starts rolling off, ergo depression. Now, let's loop cryptocurrencies into this. So China is scared to death about capital flight. So they're doing everything they possibly can to keep money from leaving the country. They block the casinos, they block cryptocurrency. You can't take money out. You can't. Another game that the Chinese industrials played was overpaying for stuff at a U.S. subsidiary so that the money stays in the U.S., and then they fly their family over and they pocket the dough, trying to kibosh that, trying to kill all the investments they have in the United States and starting requiring money to come home. Well, cryptocurrencies is a direct threat to the communist digital yuan, so they basically outlawed it now completely. So that was the latest earthquake on the cryptocurrency market. And cryptos in general are a threat to the whole central banking scheme, right? Because it doesn't have the unlimited inflation like you have with central banking because of the nature of the asset itself. There are only so many Bitcoin that are going to be produced. And so you basically create scarcity over time. And one thing about currencies, what people don't understand, currency can be anything. If you and I both agree that there's value in seashells, we can trade seashells, okay? So it doesn't really matter what it is. Bitcoin's just in a long line of things that can be trusted to verify that what I'm getting from you has value. And that's a direct threat to the Federal Reserve, central banks, and you'll probably see more regulation here in the U.S. But I'm going to let you in on something that I think really is in play with crypto. I could be way out. I could be way off base. I could be like your background. I could be in space. And is that I think Bitcoin was a construct of the United States intelligence services as the backup to the dollar for the Great Reset. I'm convinced more and more that everything's coming home to the U.S. now. I think the Chinese have figured it out, and they're saying, let's kick this the heck out of here before it infiltrates us any further. And now we have a backup currency in case something happens to the dollar. The Chinese try to wrestle away our hegemony on that. We can just flip to the Bitcoin because we don't know who owns all Satoshi's Bitcoin, right? We have no clue, But I'm feeling pretty strong. Remember, there was white papers being written by the NSA on this stuff back in the late '80s. So I wouldn't be surprised whatsoever that we have a hand in this, and that's why you have to have some crypto in your portfolio. I don't care if you hate it, you think it's this, you think it's that. You better tuck it away. It's like a lottery ticket if you don't believe it. If all your coworkers buy a lottery ticket and you don't buy it on it and they win, well, guess what? You're the only one coming to work the next day. And so the same thing with Bitcoin. They decided one day saying, we're flipping the dollar to Bitcoin. You got to call your dollars in next week. Okay? Is then people without it, Bitcoin will go through the roof. The government owns most of the Bitcoin, ergo, new reserve currency. So I'm not saying that it is going to happen. I'm just saying people need to be open to this possibility. And I think they did so. I think it's pretty clever and pretty far-sighted. And America can be many things, but from a financial standpoint, we're pretty ruthless and pretty cunning. We blew up the Japanese. I think we're in the process right now of blowing up the Chinese. The Middle East doesn't stand a chance if they flip off the dollar. We've destroyed the euro. And so when the dollar starts becoming untenable because we're spending like drunken sailors, they flip it over to Bitcoin. Guess what? They own a lot of Bitcoin already. So just keep that in the back of your mind. I don't know what it means to the alt. There's some really cool alts out there that we trade. I trade S.O.L a lot. I trade Matic a lot, and they're volatile. As traders, that's all we care about. But you better have some Bitcoin if you want to be in a position to survive something that you may not think happens, but the possibility exists that it does. So that's what I think China all the way through crypto going on. Now you roll us over to Europe and England, as we know, John, is that this is central planning of energy markets, and an incredible abortion it is. So they underinvested in fossil assets in Europe. Now they're dependent on Russia for their natural gas. Trump had alternatives set up for Europe. Basically, they ridiculed him. Biden came in there and cut a deal with the Russians and let them to do it. He cut our own people out, which was a double mistake. And now the Russians are having trouble getting natural gas into Europe, and the prices have gone up to 25 MCF. Give you perspective, it's 6 MCF in the United States. So that's what Europe's dealing with, and it has profound implications on Europe in terms of people starving in the streets, no fossil fuel generated fertilizers. England right now is having crippling shortages of gasoline. This is all because you let the Green New Dealers, and they promise people certain things, and they underinvested in the legacy solutions. And then guess what? The wind doesn't blow, the sun doesn't shine, and you don't have enough backup coal, backup natural gas, backup nuclear, and then you end up having people in a situation where they're going to starve to death. And this is different than South Australia, where it was warm enough. Here, people freeze to death in the winter in Europe. How's that for a monologue?
Wow, that's pretty darn good. I was reading a story about, it says when you think about Bitcoin and nuclear power, maybe a match made in heaven. Bitcoin is currently under fire for not being environmentally friendly, and nuclear power appears to finally, with the help of Sprott cornering the uranium market, it might be on the verge of being recognized as a true ESG solution in energy. But I don't understand this. Now the synergies are starting to surface. Talon Energy Corporation just entered into a joint venture with Bitcoin mining company Terra Wolf that started development for a mining facility on a plot of land the size of 4 football fields and next to Talon's nuclear plant. What does this mean?
Yeah, so cryptocurrencies produce electricity to do the computations to create the new coins or to facilitate the transactions. So a lot of the mining companies are where there's hydro because it's cheap. And that's why you see a lot of the Scandinavian countries, in Russia and places like that. Well, nuclear is just as cheap as hydro, and so if you can have a nuke plant, you can get energy at 3.5 cents a kilowatt pumping into your mining facility. Then you're gonna win, and then you can. So how you win in crypto mining is that you have to do the transaction at the lowest possible cost. So low-cost bidder wins the race if they can solve the problem. So you have to have the fastest computational systems out there with the cheapest electricity so you can bid the lowest to capture the coin. You capture the coin, then you own the Bitcoin. And so that's why you're seeing that race. Just like for Wall Street, they want to be as close as they can to be to Wall Street with the fastest connection so they can front-run the trade. It works the same way with crypto. You bid on the lowest to get the transaction, and you win that game. So that's what they mean by crypto is no longer environmentally unfriendly because there's really no emissions from nuclear, right? You just have to deal with the spent fuel over 20 or 30 years, and you're producing currency at a lower cost than they probably can for the mint. So that's what that means.
Well, so it costs money. It's not just somebody sitting there with a laptop. It costs a lot of money to mine crypto on this scale.
Yeah, quite a bit. Thousands of dollars per coin. So that's why if it gets too expensive, then the transactions slow down. It puts a natural bid underneath Bitcoin. So yeah, so it's everything costs money, John. And then you talk about uranium. That is the play. That is the secular play right now. The uranium shortage. So you win both ways. We own crypto. We own uranium. We're happy.
I had no idea. I mean, this is your world. This is why I mean this. I love talking to you because I learn about stuff. I had no clue. I get a cursory little dab of data, but that's about it. I had no idea it cost thousands of dollars to make a coin.
Yep, because of the computational costs and the energy expended. So, and you have to bid for it. So, it's expensive. There's data out there. You can see. I don't know off the top of my head what it is. I don't really care. All I do is trade it. So, it's a good deal, I buy it. If it gets overvalued, I sell a portion of it, but I'm always stacking and adding to our position. So, that's cryptocurrency. So crypto's here to stay. No matter all the stuff you read, they try to scare you out of your position. Look, Goldman Sachs and Morgan Stanley and Chase Bank, all those guys have their wealth clients available to buy cryptocurrencies. They would put their customers in crypto if they think the government's going to blow crypto up. Okay, they're putting people in there because they know they have to have a hedge. You got to remember, you have to hedge the dollar, right? So cryptocurrencies are a hedge against the failure of the banking system because it's an alternative system. Gold and silver is a hedge against the the cost of the dollar. And people have to understand. People are frustrated. They think we're spending all this money. The dollar is going to go down. Why isn't gold and silver going up? Because we're the one-eyed king in the land of the blind. So the dollar is more valuable against the euro, the yen, the yuan, the pound. So the dollar looks stronger. Well, if the dollar looks stronger, people are going to invest in the dollar. They're not going to invest in gold and silver in the U.S. because it makes it less valuable in dollar terms. Around the world, people are investing in gold and silver because their currencies are falling at a higher rate than the cost it is to produce gold and silver. But in the United States, we're not there yet. At some point, gold and silver and the dollar will go up together, and then that's when you start to get worried about what's going to happen in our country, because that means even as the dollar's going up, that means there's debt destruction and there's enough fear that people are buying gold and silver too, because eventually the dollar will fall away and gold and silver will be premier, unless the solution that I talked about comes into fore and people start to say, hey, maybe crypto is our reserve currency. So those are things to keep in mind. But we're drill, baby, drill. Gold, silver, uranium, crypto. They're all tradable. They're all good to stack and build positions in. But the number one thing is uranium. Behind it is other energy names. You see natural gas up 400% or 500% a month. You're going to get these, and oil's going over $100, John. I'm sorry to say. So it'll probably go to $120 by the time this is all done. Not in a straight line, but as this inflation becomes permanent, not temporary, the barons and the sheiks in the Middle East are going to get that price up there. We're not producing enough for the economic activity right now.
Is this a result of our shutdown by this administration of these various pipeline projects?
Yeah, well, more than the pipeline, they stopped drilling. They're increasing regulation. They're trying to force companies to divest capital. They're doing everything they can to enslave us into importing energy. Look, when Trump was in power, we were the number one producer of energy in the world. We were the swing producer. That means we got to control the price. Biden handed that back to the Russians and to the Saudis, and now we're twisting in the wind with everybody else versus us. Well, last time these prices went out, all Trump did was said, "Hey, look, I'll start ramping up the drilling here. We'll put you under." No, we can't say that because the Biden administration is anti-fossil fuels. So now everybody has to deal with five. Look, I wouldn't be surprised if by the time the midterm election comes by, we're looking at $6-7 a gallon for gas. I mean, that's how stupid this is going to become. And it's all self-inflicted wounds. We're drowning in oil in this country. You can stick a straw just about anywhere in the U.S. and you can extract oil. It's really political at this point.
I don't want to go off too far into the land of conspiracy theory, but then again, speculating on markets and so forth, that is, we're trying to figure it out, right? So let's try out some theories. What do we think is going to happen? But if you see a White House and an administration that goes with it that's sympathetic to the Chinese Communist Party, Chinese are imposing that, oh, sorry about those chips you needed for your new cars. We're working on that, okay? So a few weeks ago, months ago, so just a few months ago, we were seeing, I think it was Dodge Ram was having trouble, or Ram sold by Dodge was having trouble getting chips, so they couldn't complete their new vehicle. So I'm thinking, after hearing you say this, I'm thinking, okay, you want a $3.5 trillion package to do all sorts of things, green energy, and then you want another $1 trillion for $4.5 trillion for an infrastructure package. Yeah, sure. I mean, what's the long game here? Are they really trying to bankrupt this country? Because I'm thinking a pretty strong case could be made for it. What are they trying to do with all this insane spending?
Well, what they're trying to do is to try and change the calculus of who owns what in the country. So, that $3.5 trillion is they're going to pump that into all all the Democratic supporters, right? In the cities and so on and so forth. And at the same time, they're going to try to starve out those who disagree with them. And so they're just going to pump a lot of money into a lot of these urban core areas. And then what you do is you just make that many more people dependent upon the Democratic Party. And then if you try to pull it back, you get all kinds of squeaking and gnashing of teeth. So that's what they're doing there. Number two is they're obviously trying to change the dynamic, of the demographics of the country. And so the United States doesn't have to worry about going bankrupt. What we have to worry about is hyperinflation. And so that's where we have to worry, because if you're the reserve currency, it's impossible to go bankrupt. You just keep printing to yourself. What happens though is you end up having a situation where you have demonetizing of the dollar, and things that you need to live on just cost a fortune. And then everybody and their brother now is going to be forced into food stamps, forced into rental assistance. Basically, you can't operate without the government. And that's really their end game. Look, these people rather be kings of a dunghill, right, than have a prosperous country. And so, they're trying to turn us into... Brazil's the best example to me of how it'll look over time. You have the elites that live in these enclaves, and they take helicopters to hop, skip, and jump to where they need to go. And the hoi polloi live in slums between. And I think those people would be just as happy having their enclaves and their beautiful places to vacation and to travel, and then everybody else is just living and trying to get by. That's all they care about. But that's their game. Whether they succeed or not, I think is going to be difficult in the United States. So I don't think they're going to be able to control it. We're too broad and deep, and the supply chains have to leave red country to go to blue country. So that's what I think the game is. And I think food and energy costs are going to kill him. Look at Biden. Every time energy costs goes up, I think his approval ratings are on the first. This is a game they can't shoot straight. Trump handed so many things on their platter, and they basically just spiked the punch bowl. And they screwed up Afghanistan withdrawal. They screwed up the border. They screwed up taxation. They screwed up stimulus. They screwed up COVID. And they screwed up race relations. And so the country's kind of at each other's throats right now, and people don't trust anybody. And that's all going to have an impact on the politics, which I think will end it. Thank God for Samina and Manchin. If those two didn't hold the fort, this could be a really different country real fast.
What are you hearing about this global personnel shortage? I understand some of these. What I'm reading now is, and I've gotten really kind of cynical and suspicious about everything that I see in the news. But actually, I started having a long time ago. But I'm saying, the reason we're having supply chain difficulties is because where have all the people gone? We can't find enough employees to drive this stuff around. What are you thinking about this? I know you're hearing about it. You're nodding.
Yeah, look, it's we have issues here with the country. Is that we have people retiring. The demographics the boomers are rolling off. So so a lot of people that were on the fence about retiring have bailed out, and so they're not coming back to work. The other thing too, like for me, I live in California. If I decide to quit what I'm doing, I can move to pretty much any other part of the country, sell my home, live mortgage free, and my life just costs me now 60% less. And so people are doing that. So that's why you see a lot of people rolling out of their homes. They're selling. They're moving to Florida and Tennessee and Wyoming and places where they have no state income tax. And they're they're cutting their life costs significantly. And so you have that going on as well. And then the kids today, they're not going to work for $15 or $18 an hour because they know they can't live. They can't leave home. So they're just like saying, the government just threw me all this free money. I'm just going to wait until, you give me a better job at a higher price, and then maybe you'll get me. So I think there's part of that. And so I think that's the United States' issue, is that basically the demographics are leaning towards people just retiring. And you can look at 62, you can start collecting Social Security. So, why not?
Seems like the makings for some sort of for the perfect some kind of storm. What does your crystal ball say about? Now we're going into the last quarter of the year here. By January,
so funny. Somebody else asked me that too. I tripped and dropped it on the way in. So it's kind of unknowable actually because it can go a number of different directions. So on the good news scenario here is that Biden gets checked by the courts on a lot of this stuff, and cooler heads will prevail. But if it goes the other way and they do more stupid things like what New York is doing with their healthcare workers, and you cause these major disruptions in people's lives, is that this can roll off the rails really fast. China can devalue their currency. That's the thing we got to watch for, John. If you see the Chinese devaluing their currency, the last time we did that, we had a 20% correction in 18 days. So the Chinese may not have a choice. They may have to fund this Evergrande thing to keep their whole economy from going bust, and that's going to cause the issues with our dollar, make the dollar go higher, which makes the stock market go down, and ergo you create another crisis. So I can see one of two ways, and we don't know about this natural gas shortage. We're at 25 MCF in Europe, which is intolerable. Businesses have to shut down. They literally can't make money at that level, so they just will simply close until prices abate. But we're going into winter. The Germans did not have the foresight to fill their reserves when they should have, and now we're paying the price. This could be a multi-month thing. This happened before, where we had these huge spikes. Remember Gray Davis? Okay, so you had this electric surge, for gasoline, natural gas prices. We're having it again, and ironically, that happened 15 years ago, right? Ahead of, I think, when Schwarzenegger then got elected, ahead of the last great financial crisis. So you have those issues coming at us, and that one disturbs me the most. If they can't get energy and food under control, there's Katie bar the door.
I'm revealing some pretty serious ignorance here. What is MTF?
MCF. That's
MCF.
millions per cubic foot.
Cubic feet. Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. I was hearing the long letter. Sorry. Headphones, hard as hand, got some Martians. MCF. Okay, now I understand.
Yeah.
Lastly, could you dial us in on one thing, and that is when you say the last time the Chinese did this, it was a 20% correction in 18 days. What does that mean? What's a correction? Who corrected what? What happens?
So the Chinese devalued their currency in 2018 significantly, and when the dollar spikes like that, it causes the reevaluation of the values of stocks in the United States.
Gotcha. Understood.
So it wasn't anybody doing it; it was the system itself recognizing there's risk coming in, because it kills our exports. Okay, and it causes our imports to go up. So so that's what that's all about. I mean, yeah. So it makes imports cheaper and kills our production in the U.S. There, I said it right this time. And so it basically you get a revaluation of the stock prices, and it was just that fast too. So we feel the Chinese will have no choice at some point but to devalue their currency, and it will cause even more disruptions here in the country and prices of stock.
Best case scenario?
That they blocked Biden on a number of these things, and cooler heads from the donor class start saying, "Hey, dude, you have a real midterms to win. Stop doing this crazy stuff. It's not working." And they get get these guys back on side. So, but I don't know, John. It's the progressives have taken control of the House. They have enough of a veto on Nancy Pelosi to keep any of her agenda from getting through. They obviously don't have enough to get their own agenda through. Republicans aren't playing ball. And same with the Senate. They need 60 votes to do anything, and anything that comes out of the House is a non-starter in the Senate. So, unless there's a grand compromise, then I think we're going to have some absolute fireworks. Now, normally this is a good thing, because if the Congress can't get anything done, they can't cause any more grief. Okay, but the executive branch has determined that they can do whatever they want. And since nobody's going to sue them or nobody's going to arrest them, they're going to make you take everything to the Supreme Court to hold it back. But you're already starting to see polling data that says that Democrats are going to take an absolute shellacking in the next election. The people are just tired of it. It's the old phrase, John, things don't matter to people till they matter to people. When people start waiting in line for food, for gasoline, can't get stuff they want, have to do stupid testing everywhere they go, they need another booster shot, they're told they're this, they're told they're that, they're told they're racist, and at some point people are going to get inconvenienced enough to say, we don't need this grief. Let's get somebody else in here. or let's get Congress in there that can basically hold them at bay. And I think that's what's going to happen. It's going to be like Newt Gingrich all over again against Clinton.
Our time is speeding by here. It always does when we get together and talk about these things, man. I'll tell you, I feel a lot smarter every time you come on. I really do, for a little while, until the next thing that I need to learn comes along, and voila, there you are. If people want to join Trade Genius Academy, got anything special for them? Anything that might be an enticement to get on board and see what they can do?
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, he's got specials on Trade Genius till the end of October, I believe, or something. But anyway, let me now. John Wells is connected to the Richies, which is I believe. Who did Frigga say? Frigga was telling me a bunch of stuff about. Did I leave the light on in there? Frigga was telling me a bunch of stuff about these famous people. Boy, I got a head rush standing up like that. Anyway, Wells is connected somehow to the Richies. He's connected to Kid Rock or to Eminem or something. Anyway, I think it's Eminem, but he's got lots of good people on his program, even though he might be some grifting guy. You know, I kind of I like John. I do. He kind of pushes the Christian motive too much and the Trumpism too much, but everything else about John I really like. I really loved him during the Coast to Coast days when he filled in. He hosted some really good shows back in the day. But no, John Kudla, we need guys like Kudla in office. And I've got something about the economy now. What John said, I've got a couple theories on why they're bringing in so many undocumented people and and then eliminating some people is because people are worth money, and they're trafficking people. We know that they're trafficking people, and that is the thing here. You know what I mean? So you can see my aircraft going over. You see what I've been watching this morning. Yellen warns. Yeah, okay. Here we go. Now, the thing is.
And for some business news now, and I'm joined by Stephen Carroll. Stephen, we're starting in the United States and a looming deadline over the government's borrowing limit. That's right. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen says the U.S. government will run.
Kudla really didn't get into the politics thing too much, but he did touch on it, saying that that the Republicans have enough power to stop the Nancy Pelosi's agendas and the Democrats' agendas, and that's what's going on right now with the spending cap, and they were the Democrats want to get rid of the spending cap, basically, and throw us into trillions and trillions more dollars of debt. The debt's up past 20 trillion and the 27 trillion or something like that. I don't know what it is. Man, it goes up real high every day. But the Republicans want to start paying down the debt, like the Clinton era when we had a surplus and we were able to grow. Well, we can't really grow with a debt. We're constantly paying that debt down, and we're not getting anywhere. That's why we got so many. That's why we lost basically the middle class. Everybody in the middle class back in, what was it, 2008 when we had a stock market crash? Everybody in the middle class Was that under Obama or Bush? I can't remember. But when we had those last two stock market crashes, the big one in 2008 and then one in 14 or 16 or something like that, um, the middle class turned into the lower class, basically. And people like me, we that had enough money to go. We had enough money to go on a vacation, every couple months, somewhere, not too far away, uh, but a couple times, I've afforded to be able to go to the West Coast and the East Coast, and back before the in the early 2000s, we lost that ability, back into when the stock market crashed because of everything, inflation, basically inflation. Inflation happened, and so what's fixing to happen now is the government's going to close on Friday if they cannot come to an agreement. And what Kudlow there reiterated was that we're pretty much not going to come to an agreement. It's going to be a stalemate, like it has been on the Build Back, all the Build Back Better bullshit. Because these Republicans want their share, but the Democrats, want to take too much in pork spending, and all these social programs and all this shit. But money for purple hair dye and the big things, abortion and stuff, and they're pulling their hair out because they can't really do much about what Texas did. And nothing's going to get done past Friday, so except for executive orders, okay? And this is what really the Republicans aren't, I don't think they're prepared for, but, we only have 7 to 14 real Republicans in there that we could trust as patriots and stuff. The rest of them, turncoats. And so they have basically, by the terms of them not of them resisting each other, the Republicans and Democrats had come into a stalemate. This looks like it just accidentally happened, but this is what the Democrats want, is for the government to shut down so nothing gets done. We can't take anything to the Supreme Court or to Congress about the mandates or anything else, and you watch, the government will shut down and fucking Biden will start passing executive orders to push things through. And that's what will happen. And he'll expedite it, which means you can't take it to court. Well, you can't take it to court anyway because the government's not in session. The courts won't be in session. The Supreme Court probably won't be, or it'll be severely jeopardized, in its function. I don't know. I know that at first they said on PBS that the food stamps, the whatever kind of food stamp program you're on in the United States, we'll probably have late payments if we close down the government. And last time we closed down the government, we were shut down for a month or two under Trump because nobody could agree to the debt ceiling cap. And they finally did. They finally extended it, and that's where I believe a little bit of the money for the wall came into play. That was a big factor then. And so what we're going to see is the government's going to shut down. I don't know. And then they came out and said on this one right here, I believe that, no, I think it's either this one, this news report or another news report, that the Social Security, and I've got it posted. I've got all this stuff posted in Deep State if you guys want to go to my Deep State Watchdogs news site. And dogs is DAWGS. Deep State Watchdogs. Deep, one word deep, one word state, and Watchdogs is is a whole complete word. So they said Social Security payments could be delayed. Well, that's, and then I've got the videos. I'm sorry I haven't been doing a live stream, but I'm just recording stuff, but so you guys can't chime in live or anything. But I can think a little bit better when I don't have that real-time distraction, but I do miss you guys, and I do want to talk to all you new people. But let me think here. So what comes next is Biden probably will mandate, after the government closes, will executive order the Medicaid, Medicare, and food stamps to have, the roll up your sleever, and to mandate the shot. It was what I fear, a big fear of mine. Now, I do have a bunch of videos that I pulled from various platforms, and like 4 of them from YouTube, of the veterans saying they're going to get, and later on this morning, hopefully I'll get a live stream and show these videos to you guys of the veterans, because I got my tab saved, of the veterans, these vets getting pissed, and all these guys are still, fit, and they're, you can see it in their eyes, they're pissed. There ain't nothing like, I told a friend of mine, I said, there ain't nothing like in your life to look into the eyes of a bona fide killer, whether it's video or real life, of a bona fide fucking killing machine, a killing machine. Not necessarily that they've killed anybody, but looking in the eyes of a killing machine and seeing fear for their family and their personal medical care, because the VA has mandated the vaccine for any vet coming in, or coming to even coming and picking up your medicine. My stranger told me that he won't be able to get his medicine, and he's looking at, a heart attack if that happens. So, and a lot of these vets are, they got PTSD, and they need their whatever they're on, to get by during the day. And a lot of these guys, need, that's suicide. That's suicide, ticket to suicide for a lot of these guys. And they'd rather go to war with, they're saying they'd rather go to war with this administration and our sitting military. These young, all the people in the military are younger than these guys, and these guys are like, you better have some fucking body armor, motherfuckers, like mine. And the thing is the when Obama depleted our military when he was in office, those 8 years, our military doesn't have the highest tech body armor that you can get, but all these veterans have fucking the good fucking Kevlar and plate body armor. I can't remember, it's called 592 or something like that. This one video had a guy with his body armor on. He's like, you all better have some of this. I think he said 590. Anyway, high-tech body armor. Because he said, well, there's guys like me that'll be on the front lines pushing through, and it doesn't matter if we've got 1 line or 2 lines, force of guys with body armor to punch through the whatever forces come against us. My theory is, if the government closes, we'll just move in and take over and fund it, privately fund from organizations these vets throw together, the militias throw together. We'll basically tell these companies, hey, if you want government representation, you're going to have to put it in this fund to fund the government, and we'll just fund the government, pay off the fucking debt, and the American people will fund the government like we've been doing anyway. We'll just shift. We'll just ignore all these fucking politicians and the president, everybody in fucking Congress, and ignore them and replace them with fucking fucking military militia people that show up to Washington and sit down in these people's seats in the Capitol that they've abandoned because these motherfuckers will go on vacation and shit while the government shut down and think they could go on vacation for a week or two and then come back and try and renegotiate the debt ceiling. That ain't gonna fucking happen. By the time they get to their fucking beach house, we'll be sitting in Washington, fucking occupying Washington. I guarantee it. With militias and these veterans, because they ain't putting up with fucking uh, getting something shot in their body that's not what they say it is. You know what I mean? The VA double X is not a VA double X. It's a fucking GENE alteration tool. Okay? And if you paid attention to any of my videos or gone back and watched them, if you're new, you know, gone to my other platforms and seen about the nanoparticles and the flawed mRNA function and stuff, and know about all the dangers from, you know, and figured out why people are fucking croaking over, and that if the ones that didn't, if they get the real thing, they're going to be dead in less than 5 years, you know, and that freaks a lot of fucking people out. But I'm sorry, you were fucking ignorant enough not to fucking research the shit. You know what I mean? And these people like me that found out everything they could about it by digging as far as we could go, are terrified that these leftists, like on the David Pakman show, is the guy I like to troll. David Pakman. And we'll see one of his, we'll go look at his playlist here in a second. I'm going to make this it's going over an hour because this is very important. But anyway, we'll get to David Pakman and maybe a couple other another video on the economy. But here's Yellen warns the government could run out of money, and you know, this is what they want. So Biden can push through executive orders without any fucking resistance. Okay, you think everybody's going to go home, but Biden will be doing executive orders from the fake White House and from his fucking house and shit, because just watch here.
Out of money on October 18th if Congress doesn't act to raise.
Yeah, they'll close on Friday and run out of money on October 18th. When they run out of money and they're closed, that means no Social Security. That means no food stamps. You hear that, Mom? You hear that, Mom? No Social Security and no food stamps after the 18th of October. I don't know if she can hear me, but she got up early. My son went to pick up his girlfriend in Missouri, way up north of Springfield. And I was like, son, that's an awfully long way to go pick up a girl. You know, why don't you bring her down here and move her in and get her job at Walmart, help, because we're going to need the help. I'm fixing to get online and order me. Hopefully, the shit don't shut down. The shipping companies don't shut down in time for me to get a good water filter here, gravity-fed water filter, and fucking what else I need? I need a hand axe, and I need a good fire starter, and I'll be good to go. Pretty much, probably get a couple, 2 or 3 fire starters, but I'm going to use my Amazon credit. I think I got $1,000-something. Fuck it, I'm going to fucking use my fucking credit that I got, even though I can't afford to pay it. My son's going to have to help me pay the bill, and we'll just pay minimum payments. But, you know, by the time the bill comes in, I don't think fucking the economy is going to be so fucked up, because this is happening. I mean, we've talked about it in the past before, thinking that something like this might happen, you know, and it's always been in October, either the 8th or the 18th or you know, sometime around there. But this time this is real deal. We know these Democrats and these Republicans are not agreeing with each other. And so the government's going to shut down until one of them concedes when they come back in to talk to each other, but they're going to take a fucking break, a frustration break, and they're going to go off to the beach houses. And in the meantime, I believe these veterans and these militias, the state militias, are going to move the fuck into Washington. You watch, because how do you pay? How do you pay the military to stand guard at Washington? These guys are getting the shot and everything, and some of them are croaking over, and half of them getting sick. So we're really at a fucking crisis point here with a disabled military, and most of the military is still in boot camp right now, because a whole bunch of people resigned. They just jailed Scheller. So a lot of people are just basically bailing out to see of the military because of what they're doing to people, man. And dude, there's going to be such a fucking uprising. I don't know if it's going to be bloody. We might avoid bloodshed, but we might not. Here's the rest of this report.
Or suspend its borrowing limit. Republican senators on Monday blocked an attempt by Democrats to pass a debt limit increase. Government funding is set to run out on Friday of this week. Janet Yellen says there's only a short window after that before the US will be unable to repay its debt.
Our current estimate is that Treasury will likely exhaust its extraordinary measures by October 18th. At that point, we expect Treasury would be left with very limited resources that would be depleted quickly. America would default for the first time in history.
First time in history.
The full faith and credit of the United States would be impaired, and our country would likely face a financial crisis and economic recession as a result.
The concerns over debt and rising inflation caused jitters across the stock markets in the past 24 hours. Wall Street closed down sharply on Tuesday. Today in Asia, we can see those concerns playing out across many of the Asian markets. The Nikkei in Tokyo closing down by 2%, sharp falls too in Shanghai and on the Kospi in Seoul. Just the Hang Seng in Hong Kong turning positive towards the end of its trading day. That's despite new concerns over the troubled Chinese property developer Evergrande, which saw some of its bonds downgraded by Fitch. European shares starting the day, though, with somewhat of a recovery. They too had suffered sharp falls yesterday. Oil companies are in the red at the open, though. That's linked to the fall in oil prices after yesterday's rises.
Meanwhile, Stephen, here in France, new figures show just how badly the hospitality sector was impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic.
The industry lost 237,000 jobs between February 2020 and 2021, according to statistics from the Labour Ministry. That's despite 2/3 of hospitality workers being on the government's furlough scheme at the end of that period. These figures help to explain the massive shortage of staff that hotels...
Okay, we don't need to see that. The rest of it, that's not... well, it is important because basically the stuff shutting down left and right because of fuel in Europe and England, and toxic gas from the volcano. Oh, and that leak project. Aliens aren't what you think. They've been here all along. That's an excellent one. I'm going to touch on that in my live stream, or probably make it a main topic stream. I'm not going to leak the information. You guys want to go to Leak Project? If you're not subscribed to Leak Project, man, that's Bear is a good guy. Although he's looking kind of funny here lately. There's David Pakman. And protests continue in Mexico because of the hate. They're all at that stadium. Get it or no freedom in Australia. Yeah. So in Australia, they're saying they're taking everybody's freedoms away if they don't get the shot. There's another one by Vlad Grutz about we have zero trust in our government right now. We used to back 40 years ago. There's a Generation Z. Black conservative, everything was revealed in the Millie thing. There's UAM in TV now. That's the old guys from Coast to Coast AM radio. That's a really interesting pithalum. Now, I'm not for sure if some of this shit's made up or what, but it just sure sounds like it. But they're awesome stories. Awesome stories at UAM TV. Aimed Ahead Release has got 24/7 dark techno, cyberpunk, and stuff. That gets no honor among mats. Powski snaps. Okay, so we going back up here. Deplorable Duck got shut down today after about 7. He was buffering so bad, and he was trying to get back, and he never came back online. So we don't know what happened to his connection there in that motel or wherever he was. I don't know where he was. There's that David Pakman I wanted to show you. Miley, Al Qaeda could threaten U.S. in 12 months. Well, they most certainly can if we're still shut down by then, which might be a possibility. If the economy collapses, if there's no taxes being collected, petrol panic, or we might have a new incumbent, new government by the people for the people by then. You know what I mean? A real ex-military republic or democracy. 6.5 quake hits the Kuril Islands in Russia. That's a good one by Mark Dice. He's doing a poll to see how many people want illegals to be expedited into citizenship so they can vote, or should illegals be able to vote, without being citizens. And man, you'd be surprised at the stupidity of some people. The Pfizer CEO, if you're not subscribed to Crazy Truth, get that and Mark Dice. And let's see, can I get it on this view so it's a bigger, yeah. Crazy Truth, she's got all the good shorts, and that's another mask video of the Pfizer CEO's got a mask on. Okay, so that's Fauci. We know Biden's got body doubles or as a clone or as a fucking CGI or whatever. Fauci, Biden, now the Pfizer CEO. Who else? How many people do we have involved with this thing that are wearing masks, man? And exactly, are they what we think they are? I.e., are they, some people say reptilians, some people say the Vril, or who are these entities behind these masks? You know what I mean? And they've been chemtrailing here. I don't know if you could see that. There's the moon. But they've been chemtrailing yesterday morning while I was outside real bad yesterday morning. And there's a big, nice, solid chemtrail for you right there. But the sun's coming up here, and I better wrap this up. So we're gonna look at petrol supply. Hold on, let me check Mr. Transhumanism. That's you guys need to touch up on your transhumanism, and I'll touch you guys up on it pretty soon. But I was just rewatching some Monograph there. And okay, we're gonna look at David Pakman real quick. And if you guys aren't subscribed, I know most of you guys are Christian conservative, and watching this David Pakman will make you sick to your stomach. So I don't suggest
100 employees, then you can test weekly.
I don't want to play it. I just want to.
Gradual but rapid recovery from the pandemic-induced recession.
Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen and Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell were back on Capitol Hill Tuesday. America's two top financial and economic leaders were supposed to be there to update the Senate.
That's Reuters. Okay, what I want to do is go to his playlist here real quick.
Then you can
No, I don't want to play him. So I don't want him saying It's David Pakman, not CK, but PAKMAN. And you can see his little freaky deaky butt. And you heard him talk just a little bit there, and that's kind of all you really need to hear. Because let's see what kind of playlist he's got. No, videos. Now, just you guys are gonna be infuriated just by the titles of these videos. COVID cases down, barely anyone quitting over vaccine. Yeah, we know there's people quitting. That's why they had a bus driver shortage and in New York and what is it, Chicago, and yeah, so they had to have the military drive the school buses. And then now in New York, they're having the military come in to replace the nurses because the nurses quit. So yeah, that's a fucking lie. That's a fucking lie. All these are lies. All these are fucking lies. Come on, phone. Shit. Damn it. If I had some money, I could get me a new phone. Let's do this because you can see more of the titles this way. COVID cases down, barely anyone quitting. Lie. Is it time to start firing unvaccinated employees? Right? Is it time to start firing unvaccinated employees? There you go. You can see the whole title, so you know I'm not lying about it. Trump could be charged with multiple crimes for Georgia strong arm. Now, we already had that thing, you know. We already went over that. What is he doing bringing it up again? What are they doing trying to charge Trump? You know, I don't really support Trump anymore because I recognize he's an actor. But, you know, kind of he's the only guy we got that'll work our work for us, you know what I mean? And so we're kind of left with, oh, God. Here we go, guys. I'll get a big screen of that. Right, they got an X right over my fucking house. Yeah, they got a fucking chemtrail X right over my fucking house. Shit. They're gonna fucking harp us. Fuck. That's fucked up. They're probably gonna fucking harp me. That's what they're gonna fucking do. Lucky I got my EMF shield under my hat. So, anyway, continuing on. Are they lying about quitting over the roll up your sleever mandate? No, they're not. People are fucking quitting. Anyway, I'll do a video on Trump and why he's an actor, and we'll touch on that. I'll go over that real quick. It shouldn't take too long, but I'll pull up some evidence as well and show you guys what I'm talking about in my next live stream. I got a good big live stream to do later today. I just, you know, I had to get this one out. And I'm going to upload it to both my YouTube channels and my BitChute, my Rumble, this one here. But if you guys want to go over to David Pakman and tell him, you know, he's your best, David, you're my best friend, and you know, Arizona audit confirms what we all knew as Germany moves left. Multiple signs in the insane Trump stormers. This guy attacks Trump, you know. Fox News has banned Rudy Giuliani because Giuliani said, well, just go over there and watch some of this stuff if you can stand it. If you can stand David's voice. Caller parody of anti-vax caller. That's going to piss you off. Is it time for more financial YouTube? Right. Does Gabby Petito coverage expose total hypocrisy? Imagine if we had professional representation. Republican bookkeeper dead of COVID didn't share password with anybody. No evidence of COVID vaccines causing deaths. Then that one I got infuriated over. This one is the reason why I'm showing you guys David Pakman and telling you guys David Pakman is the bestest buddy you'll ever fucking have, man. I tell you what, he is he's a good guy. I mean, there's no evil bone in his body. I mean, if I could go eat lunch with him, I'd fucking take a shit in his fucking sandwich and wipe his mouth with it, you know. Anyway, let me get this before it disappears. I want to show you guys, if something happens to me today, this is the reason why. They've got a fucking Harp X over my fucking house. Get out here, and it's, whoa, there's a big spider. Fucking spider. I got the October spiders out here. But let's circle this around so you can see a nice big pink X. See the moon? Nice big pink X over the lake there. So they might be harping the lake. It'll be over my house pretty soon. But isn't it beautiful morning here? It's nice orange-red sky. You know what that means? It's either volcano dust or iron oxide from the big object that's sitting behind us in the north sky at night. But yeah, those are the only two trails in the sky, and they are right over the middle of town or lake right now. But isn't that nice pink X for me? Well, guys, I've gone a little too far over my what I wanted to, because I missed the sunrise, but I was in the backyard. I'm all hyped up on my vitamins this morning. I took a bunch of vitamins and drank a couple cups. Did I just walk through that fucking spider web? Where'd he go? I hope he's not on me. I think I just walked through the spider web where he... Oh no, there he is. I see him. I hope he's not on me. Anyway, my hat. Anyway, you guys, I'll try and get a live... There's Brutus. I'll try and get a live stream out before noon today, because there's a lot of stuff I want to talk to you guys about. So, and I'm feeling good. I don't feel shitty like I have the past several days when I didn't do a live stream. I've been kind of moody, so you guys don't want to see me fucking cuss somebody out because they said something I misunderstood on chat and fucking get all pissy. So I just kind of stayed away. But you guys have a good one. I will catch you on the flip side. Peace out, motherfuckers. Mr. Mission Control's out of here.